Why does evil happen to good people?
So I think
Phails at philosophy.
what she argues, like the basic
Not
answer.
her. What is
No,
Grant? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I think what she argues, the basic answer she gives is the answer I would give. I would just give it for very different reasons than Buddhism, which is it's a stupid question, get over it. Right? And get on with producing good in the world. Like, stop. And I think that goes more back to your kind of victim mentality thing. Like, stop worrying about it. Now, and that doesn't mean that injustice doesn't happen, and it is a normal response to feel hurt, deeply hurt when deep injustice is done to you, right?
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up about that hurt, but once you've given yourself the space to kind of work through that and get to a space of balance again, get on with life and stop asking why is there evil and instead ask how can I do good. That's my answer.
Yeah.
Like, focus on doing good, stop worrying about why there's evil.
Your answer is this isn't even the question we should be asking. We should focus on, doing good in the world.
Yeah.
Which is you mentioned Joe Rogan earlier. I saw a thing. I watched Joe Rogan, and he says in his podcast, he's like, focus on what you're doing and do the best as you can. Don't focus on the past. Don't focus on being good or bad or right or wrong or what failure you had in the past. You're doing something now. Give it all of your energy, give it all of your attention, all of your passion, all of your drive, and do the best as you can.
Right.
And through that, over and over and over again, that's what leads you to good work. That's what leads you to kind of, I don't want to say success, but definitely increasing your skills, increasing the productivity or the value that you can bring to the world through your art, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think, that focuses on like, what is the power I have to do? Now, I want to give a caveat to that. That doesn't mean I don't say, why is there evil? Why is there suffering? Why is out there? But that becomes more of a technical question, because if I can diagnose how this particular suffering, this particular evil happens, and I see how I have the power to change it, now I have a good way. I have a path to help produce more good in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the danger of saying get over it, just do good, is you can stop focusing on the larger pictures, like the systematic injustices, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't think about those as these cosmic systems of injustice.
Right.
Think of them as particular problems in the world that follow patterns. And if we understand those patterns better, then that gives us a greater technical skill to produce good. Right?
Yeah.
Which I think aligns with what you're saying, Joe Rogan was saying. But I think I give a stronger emphasis to like, don't just focus on yourself and kind of your immediate passion. You may find ways to do greater good that touches your passions, but is not that kind of Joseph Campbell follow your bliss thing, right? Like, which I don't necessarily ascribe to. I think that's sort of, that can become very solipsistic and, and pull you away from a community that's also very different than you.
Yeah.
Right.
All this maps to be here now for me.
I'm going to go. Dude, Ram Dass is such an early influence on how I even think about the world as a young man. So
but it all maps to like,
yes.
You're not in the past. You're not in focusing on the outcomes of what you're doing. You're here in the present moment, giving it all of your attention and doing it, like Joe Rogan said. Joe Rogan, if you're out there, we know you're in Austin. Why don't you can come in, you can come talk to us too. We'd love to talk to you.
There's that note of hope in your voice.
Yeah. Come on, dude. Support Austin Public Access and a young podcaster. Come on the show. Anyway, be here now when you're not focusing on the past, when you're not focusing on, did I do wrong? Did I do all that? You're in the present moment. That's mindfulness. That seems to be at the root of a lot of the things that I look into and a lot of the people that I talk to about living a happy life it is like focus on the now.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
were saying you love Ram Dass. He was foundational for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I continue to return to Ram Dass as a good source of wisdom. I mean, I think I resist a total kind of nowism.
You do? Why do you resist
um,
nowism?
Because I think who we are as human beings and all our richness has deep roots, right? And so I think if we focus on the past as a web of causation to account for who we are right now, and, you know, in that kind of karma and rebirth, or even sort of, again, that kind of like that moral universe of guilt and shame, right?
Yeah.
That can create problems. But I think who I am as a human being is so enriched by a sense of connection to my historicity. So I think of it in terms of historicity.
Historicity.
And historicity.
Did you just make up a word? What
No.
was the word for making up words?
I did
You
not.
said around neckerchief. What was that
Yeah,
word?
it's not a neologism.
It's a neologism.
It's not any more of a
Hey, y'all
neologism.
comment. I think this is definitely a neologism.
It's not any more than neckerchief.
Historistomy?
Historicity. So the historical nature, right?
Okay, yeah.
The historical nature of who we are is, on one level, to be a historical being means that I am a being who is in a single time, in a single place. I am here, I am now.
We're all alive now.
Right. But it's also that here and now is shaped by a past that is very real and has really shaped
ancestry,
history. Yeah. So I think there's a value to going into that depth to find a richer expression of who we are as human beings.
What if your grandparents had a bunch of slaves and they made all their money off the backs of people in a real negative way, and now that's my historicity.
That is an important
history
part of who you are. Yeah, I mean that is an important part of who you are as a human being, is working that out. Yeah.
But what do you have to work out? Like, those were the decisions you made. That's a decision that your grandparents made.
Right, but who you are.
And let's just agree. I think, well, I'm going to propose that people were just worse people. As you go back in time, I think people were just worse people.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in moral progress, so yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we overemphasize.
So how much do I have to blame? What work do I have to do for this is the sins of your father type
Yeah,
of thing.
again, it's if you're caught in the web of blame, then it gets all these problems that derail you from, I think, the real work, which is, you know, even if you are not to blame for that, you are a beneficiary of that.
Yeah.
Right? And that puts you in a position of power that you wouldn't have had without that. So what are you going to do with that power? What are you going to do in relationship to what your ancestors did? Now, that doesn't mean you necessarily need to feel guilty and go out and, you know, overcome the injustice of racism. But as a beneficiary, you have a connection to that racism, and you might want to
make some decisions
about how you
things out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's that quote to those who are given much responsibility is, I don't remember the exact quote, but if you have a lot, you need to kind of take responsibility a lot socially.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's true. I think that like, if I am benefiting from injustice, I should attend to that injustice if I have the power to do so.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.